This is Live Africa O, and if you are new here, this is a channel that is focused on all things wellness related. If you are a returning subscriber, you already know what this channel is about. So I love to focus on helping people tap into their inner joy through physical fitness, nutrition, and mental health. And this video today is going to be a continuation of information. My little baby decided to join me today, a continuation of texturism. I want to specifically do this video for all of my 4C hair girls or 4C hair people. But really, I think, honestly, anyone could pull something away from this video. And as I've mentioned before, you may not associate yourself or your hair with the numbering system, which is completely fine. But I would just say this video is for women who have very kinky textured hair. So, all right, he has decided to park here for the whole video, I guess. So, mental health definitely relates to how we think about ourselves. And I just wanted to do this video to hopefully help individuals who are along the natural hair journey. So this video will hopefully help you walk away feeling a little bit better about embracing the journey of your natural hair. If you are already embracing it, then kudos to you. This will just hopefully keep reinforcing that behavior. So I'm reading from a quick notes list because I don't want to make this video long, but this is a layered topic. I want to start with just coming right out the gate, feeling less attractive. First of all, I know you are beautiful. And that doesn't mean you wake up every day feeling beautiful or every moment. It doesn't mean that someone may say that you're not beautiful and you still feel beautiful, because I think that just like confidence can fade in and out, at times feeling beautiful can do the same. But I think as long as you're feeling confident, majority of the time, and as long as you are feeling beautiful majority of the time, that is what is key. And I am not an expert in this, but this is just what seems to make the most sense to me. So I'm bringing this up based upon my experiences, my own personal experiences, but also just other individuals I've talked to and observed. Feeling less attractive is something that can impact the way we think about ourselves. And oftentimes, I feel it can be through no fault of our own. I feel that we can be in a home where we have caregivers telling us we're beautiful, telling us all of the things, and we can step out into the world and we can have people tell us something completely different, such as you're ugly, etc. Or you can be watching TV or any type of social media, and it can be telling you the same thing, that you're not. And sometimes those things that are opposite of beautiful that you're being told can weigh on you. And so just being completely honest with you, I have been there when it comes to my natural hair. And it wasn't, for me, fortunately, a feeling that I felt for an extended period of time. And it was more of a feeling that came in and out. So I will say I felt attractive most of the time. And also to add to that, there are probably certain privileges around that help me feel that way, However, I just want to say, having anything that is the opposite of the standard, it is warranted that you may feel that way. It doesn't mean you're definitely going to, but it is very likely that you will, and that's okay. I think that one of the first examples of me seeing my natural hair texture, like my first memory of seeing it often being worn, was actually on men, Black men in my community. And I saw other men, other Black men, and even sometimes like on the news, the way things were said about certain people, specifically Black men, they were targeted, it seemed, very specifically to men that were darker complexion and had the same type of look, just coincidentally, right? Probably not, but that also had the same type of texture. The texture I'm talking about, again, is the very kinky texture. But when I would see other men, not all the time, but several times, comment on men that had very kinky textured hair, it was in a way where they were being clowned for having very nappy hair. And that was like my first example of, again, seeing the texture of my hair. I would say as like an adult and seeing people talk about it. And I'm trying to think about like exactly the age range, but maybe like late teens going into my early 20s. Because it was essentially, you either have waves, you know, or you just have really nappy hair. And it's very ignorant, and the core of it traces back to what I've already talked about before in some of my blogs, etc., just about European beauty standards. But back at the time, I didn't know where it traced back to. I just knew that it sounded ignorant. And fast forwarding, the natural hair movement came out, or started rather, and I saw a lot of Black women wearing their natural hair, and I saw a lot of products and commercials advertising natural hair. But the women that were being shown on the products, and the women that were being shown in just all of the advertisements for it, most of them had a certain type of texture. And even when I was out in actual life, living my day-to-day life, when I would see women being accepted with their natural hair, be it accepted because someone's directly complimenting them, or being accepted because, you know, they are not being ostracized or condemned for wearing their hair how it is at work or wherever it was. It was women who had a certain looser texture. It was not women who had very kinky hair, again, the same kind of hair that resembled the hair I had seen before on Black men's head that had been joked about. So I'm mentioning this to basically state that this was the first part of the process that I had to go through when I had those moments of feeling less attractive, because I knew that I always thought about myself as just an attractive person overall. And I'm not saying attraction is everything. Of course, intelligence, emotional intelligence especially, and things like that are just way more important, but I still think there's room to discuss attraction. Let's not dismiss that. And so when I think back to it, I just had to go through a process of like unlayering what was going on in my mind, right? To have me feeling that way sometimes. So that was the first thing, the first why I thought about. The next why, and I kind of touched on this a second ago, was just the marketing of, all right, like it was leaving me, but it was the marketing of 4C hair or super kinky hair. There wasn't any. I mean, it's gotten better now, but I just remember for a long time in the United States, that's where I'm at, that's where I live, I did not see in social media, and I'm talking about movies, shows, news reporters, music videos, you know, I mean, you could just, and I'm talking about, this is like dating way back, you know, like early 2000s, even before that. I just wasn't seeing a lot of people that were Black with kinky textured hair. And I definitely wasn't seeing it in my workplaces. So I also had to process that, because again, instead what I was seeing was hair texture that was looser, more curly defined, or wavy, or straight. And I'm not saying that people within that range of textures have not also experienced some level of discrimination, because I feel like I have heard some of them say that. But I still think that systemically, not I think, I know, it's not even subjective, it's a fact that systemically people with very kinky texture hair, though, are actually being discriminated against. They're actually losing their jobs, or not being hired, and you know, all of those types of things. And so the marketing piece was important for me to understand, because I'm like, oh, well, no wonder I'm having moments, right, of feeling less attractive sometimes when I'm trying to wear my natural super kinky texture hair, because I'm not seeing my hair represented. I'm not seeing it represented in the music videos that I watched when I was younger sometimes. I'm not seeing it represented in commercials. I'm not seeing it represented in movies. I'm not seeing it represented in the workplace, in actual workplace environments, in professional organizations, in even just going out to the club, you know, going almost anywhere. I was barely seeing it. And someone could say, well, maybe you just missed it, but I really, really don't feel like that's the case. In fact, I know that's not the case, because I know what I saw in my experience. And I'm not saying that there weren't people with natural hair, but what I'm saying is that there weren't many. And if I'm seeing hair that is the opposite of my texture, hair that is like more loosely, like, well, more defined curl-wise, hair that is straighter, if I'm seeing that being marketed and also seeing that being accepted in the spaces that I'm going to, then naturally, not only am I in my hair texture not being reinforced to feel attractive, but other people are now more drawn to what they're being marketed. And not everybody, but most people are less drawn to my hair texture. And so I'm feeling the ramifications of that, of, you know, the discrimination in the way hair is marketed, and, you know, just all of that. But then I'm also, you know, just having to continue to try to push my perception of my own hair up, to try to challenge and counter all of the negative perceptions that it receives. And the core of all of these whys was really important to me to think about. The core of what I just said, the way hair is marketed, and, you know, just the way it's even received, and not received is stemming from European standards of beauty. That's all it is. You know, people weren't just born to think, oh, this hair is acceptable and this hair isn't. They were programmed that way. And so I talk a lot more about European standards of beauty in some of my blog posts that I write at liveafricao.com. So of course, shameless plug, check that out when you have a chance if you haven't already. But lastly, I'll talk about the results. So we've talked about just, again, this is the entire process of me thinking about why I feel less attractive at times with my natural hair. And this is me also, so this is me thinking about it, doing the processing, I'm thinking about the why, I'm thinking about the core of why I feel that way. And now the results of this is I'm giving myself grace. Because for me, understanding why I'm thinking a certain thing is so valuable, because when I go through that process and then I arrive at the core, it helps me arrive at the core of where it comes from. Then I'm able to address the issue. You know, everything else was just like the symptom, but now we're at the root of the issue. And so when I realized the root of the issue was the European standards of beauty, and, you know, all of the workings around that, I was able to give myself grace. You know, it's like, no, this is not, you love yourself. You find yourself intelligent, attractive, kind, all of those great things. You are just having to counter the negativity that is oftentimes being pushed out about people that have your hair texture. It's like, I thought about it just I thought about it in this way too. So anybody, anyone, any human on this earth has days where they feel, you know, less attractive, or moments where they feel less attractive. Like I said earlier, moments where they feel less confident, whatever. It happens, it's a part of life. But then if you have people that are specifically targeted in a way because they're being ostracized or condemned or discriminated against for, their features, how they present, their natural born features, they are now having to not only just experience what I said every human experiences, but they're experiencing it at another level, at a more intense level. And so they're having to do more work. Not everyone, but most likely a lot of individuals in this particular pool are having to do, you know, more work to just counter the things, counter the hair discrimination. Let's just summarize it as that. So the last thing I want to say is, when I decided, when I arrived at a place where I gave myself more grace, that's a beautiful way to say it. It was like, okay, I'm giving myself grace during these moments. I don't feel as attractive. And I'm going to love on myself during these moments even more, right? Because I understand why I'm there. So I'm not going to be so hard on myself. And that helped me when I did have the moments where I was wearing my natural hair, and even moments where someone said something crazy to me, like, why don't you straighten your hair? Have you ever thought about straightening your hair? Or they looked at me crazy, or men have said some things, let's put it that way. And women have definitely asked me, you know, have I thought about straightening my hair? I've just received different types of comments. But when those moments happen, it has been easier for me over time to just ignore it and realize that they are programmed on the European beauty standard. So what they're seeing through their lens are people who look attractive solely based on from a very biased view. That's all it is. They've been marketed something, and it's hard for them to see beauty outside of that. Even though beauty exists all around us. Like, there are beautiful, like, I liken it to colorism. I talk about this as well in one of my blog posts, but there's just so many intersectionalities between the two. So, I think about colorism. There are beautiful white women. There are beautiful women who are not white or black, Asian, you name it. There are beautiful, just humans across this world. And there are beautiful light-skinned humans. There are beautiful, dark-skinned humans. And then there are beautiful individuals, beautiful women who have straight hair, beautiful individuals who have wavy, curly hair, super kinky hair. That is the reality. However, what is also the reality is that there are women, there are humans who are embraced more, who are uplifted more, who receive certain type of treatment socially and institutionally, that have lighter complexion, that have straighter hair. Like, that's just the reality. And when I was able to arrive at that, no one could gaslight me anymore. Even when people were trying to gaslight me, I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty clear on this, but no one could gaslight me anymore. But no one could also tell me anything that, like I said, really hurt me, because I just knew it was them projecting the discrimination that they had picked up from being programmed to like a certain thing. Like, they were essentially perpetuating the programming, right? The programming of European beauty standards. They were just perpetuating that discrimination onto me. So, yeah, it just felt great to arrive at that place of truth. And I have always been someone, like, when I arrived, honey, I just love saying arrived, because it was like, ooh, I am fully embracing her, right? When I arrived, I'm not saying the journey was perfect. Like, I never had times where I slipped back into like being a little bit concerned about like my hair or what maybe someone thought about my fro or whatever the case may be. But I have very few times where that happens now, a lot fewer. And I also will say that I just continue to go back to who I am. When you arrive, it's like, wait, who are you as an individual, and what are your values? And my values have always been to try to exist in my truth as much as possible, despite society. Like, I do not want to conform to society. If I'm doing something that just happens to be happening in society, but it aligns with my values, that's okay. But it shouldn't be the other way around, where I'm doing something or I'm thinking something because I'm trying to align to society, So I know that liberation, like existing in my truth, is like liberating. And I really, liberation is very important to me for so many reasons. And yeah, it just helped me to arrive there. So that's all. That's all I have to share for this video. If anything resonated with you, please don't be shy to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video, because it's all about creating a community, for me, of wellness. I just want to share my wellness thoughts and hopefully they resonate with someone, helping them live this experience of life a little bit better. All right, thanks for watching.